We're going to go into one of my favorite wines, Blackberry Patch. I don't want to use the word traditional, but it's a Spanish blend. So everyone thinks of Spain and they think of Rioja. This is actually a lesser known region. It doesn't have that rigid law of aging and blending that Rioja has. And what they do is they blend Tempranillo. Tempranillo is an early ripening grape variety into Cabernet to help lengthen and structure that sort of grippy tannin. And to me, Tempranillo takes the Langhorne Creek Cabernet, and Cabernet gets referred to a lot of the time as a donut wine. It's got a hole in the middle, so you have this tannin structure around the middle of the palate in the front, and then this little callow hole in the middle. In Australia, we tend to follow that Bordeaux ethos of using Merlot, which you fill it in. So you get a pothole, you take Merlot, and you make it like that. You fill it in. What Tempranillo does is you put Tempranillo in the wine, and it takes that hole and it stretches out those bumps. So instead of being this, they're like that. So it makes the wine longer and more elegant. And that's what I love about this. I love Cabernet. Cabernet is the king of red grapes in my mind, in most people's mind. It has structure and depth. It takes on a real story of its sense of place.
So why blend Cab and Tempranillo?
It's that traditional Spanish blend that I tried when I was over there. I worked in Zaragoza making a lot of Grenache, or Grenache as we call it, but I drank wines from all over the place. And when I had the chance to try the Cab Tempranillo blends, that's what really sung through with me, because they were amazing. They're that next wave, that new generation of blends that the Spanish are doing, and it is taking the world by storm, and I think we have that ability to do it. Tempranillo in the next 10 to 15 years will be one of the top 5 red grape varieties used in South Australia. It is suited to a hotter climate. It's an early ripener, so it gives us the ability to harvest the fruit before we get into issues. Tempranillo has lovely tannin structure, but this more savory sort of cedar tone to it. It's a great grape variety, and I think the consumer from the Tempranillos that have been made in the marketplace have really grasped onto that flavor profile and style and character of that grape variety.
That's grown in McLaren Bay?
The Tempranillo actually comes from our organic vineyard, which is in Finniss River. Yeah, just over the Adelaide Hills here, down to the south. So he grows Tempranillo and Shiraz down there, and so it's cooler climate, it's longer hanging time, and that early ripening, it still comes in at a good time during harvest. Let's give it a shot. I love this one.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And why the picture?
Well, we call it Blackberry Patch because the key characteristics and flavor profiles of what we get out of Langhorne Creek Cabernet is blackberries. And for me, it's that real sort of blackberry pie characteristic. It's got that crusty, sort of doughy yeast component from the fermentation and that juicy, briery blackberries. And on the nose, the big thing, I guess, for us too is we don't harvest within 2 panels of any of our eucalypts. We leave that behind, and that minimizes the amount of that eucalypt characteristic, and it comes up a little bit more of that sort of minty, stocky character in a good way, rather than a resinous green character.
You can smell the berries.
Yeah, it's that fresh macerated sort of briery red blackberries. What I always refer to as white cedar or white tobacco characteristics.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
So you could eat this with dessert?
You could drink this with
Drink
dessert.
this with dessert, yeah.
But I like that you said that. I always say wine is like food.
Well,
You eat and drink.
Yeah, that's what it's
Yeah,
like.
you can do that. I mean, before we actually made our witching hour, which is our fortified Viognier, we used to serve a lot of our red wines with dessert. And I mean, you could actually sit down with a lovely tatin of blackberries, and it would actually complement that dish. You know, traditionally this is served with beef. So more iron based, and you can see that. As soon as I say iron in that wine, you get that iron oxide sort of characteristic, and it complements it a little bit more in regards to tannins and breaking down that malleable protein characteristic in the food. But it's a beautiful wine. You can have it with hard cheeses, soft cheeses. They need to be a bit stronger than normal. To me, this has just got a little bit more of that finesse and structure, You know, it's not, you don't have to sit here and waffle and go deep into it and try to be a wank. It's just a really great expression of Cabernet without being big.
What's the shelf life on this one?
Again,
Yeah.
we always say 3 to 5 years is where you start to see a little bit of more of that bottle evolution. When we bottle it so it's drinkable, like this right now. I mean, this is absolutely beautiful in the glass. It's juicy, it's got that crunchy tannin, it's got the lovely savory tannin structure and a little bit of acid, and it makes you want to keep sipping on it more and more and more. Over the next 3 to 5 years, that sort of primary current is going to start to dry out a little bit, and it will evolve into a little smoother, richer, rounder wine, but it's not going to change dramatically in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. It'll be there, and if you're that patient and you have my wine that long, you're not supporting me enough. You need to drink your wine every day. It's a food product. It's
so true.
vitamin W.